of every pitch goes way up.
昨日のまず昨日の今永選手の交代に関してなんですけれども、特に昨日と全く違った思いとかはありません。今永選手とのコミュニケーション、試合中のコミュニケーションというのは今でもすごくいいものを築けていると思いますし、彼はまだいけるとかちょっと疲れているとかすごい正直に話してくれるので、昨日のゲームプランとして70球から75球ってものがあって、そこで4回を投げ切ってくれたので、私としては本当にプラン通りにいったとは思います。でやっぱりスプリングトレーニングから昨日のすごい熱狂的な雰囲気環境に行くっていうのはかなりやっぱ大きなジャンプだったので、それも加味しなきゃいけなかったと思います。
The second question is difficult to give a short answer on. So, for Shingo, I don't want to, I think it depends on how those pitches are delivered. At high intensity, that's too many pitches, in my opinion. At 75% of your max, that's a different intensity. So I think pitching injuries are a real problem, but we don't have the right answer because every person is different. But we have to continue to get better at serving our pitchers and protecting our pitchers if we want our game to be healthy.
2つ目の球数甲子園の球数に関してなんですけれども、短い答えっていうのはおそらく今なくて、今一つ言えるのはその130球がどのような出力で投げられたかだとは思います。もし全部 100% 全力投球をしているのであれば130球というのはやっぱ多いと感じますし、それでもやっぱ 75% ぐらいの出力で投げているならひょっとしたら投げられるのかもしれません。やっぱりそのピッチャーの怪我っていうのは深刻な問題だとは思うんですけれども、やっぱり全員がやっぱ違う体なので、それに対しての答えっていうのは一つの答えっていうのはないと思いますし、我々としてはでもちゃんとそのピッチャーのケアをして守ってあげるっていうことは大事なことだと思います。
Another question in Japanese.
How'd you do, Shingo? Good?
Anything else in Japanese for Craig? Okay, we'll shift to English. Who has the first question? Go to Stephen on your right, Craig.
Hi, Steve Wade with Associated Press. With all respect, the Cubs are a big club, one of the most historic clubs in the States, but here you're sort of relegated to, I don't know what status I should call it. I know mean also ran. How do you deal with it? Like you're the really second club here. How does that sort of set with you or with the team, with the fans?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, a product. Look, we're playing the world champions, so you expect that from that perspective. We're playing against the most famous player in the world, so you expect it from that perspective as well. It's still a competition. We're trying to beat them, the same. And it's okay. It doesn't. I don't think it bothers any of us or changes anything about our experience here or our anticipation of enjoying the experience. Look, when you're the world champs, you get to enjoy the spoils of that, and that's fair to me.
カブスは通常よく知られる名前ではあるんですけども、日本に来てドジャースに対してこれ注目度っていうのを劣っているかもしれないんですが、それがチームがどのように考えてますかという質問だったんですけれども、もちろんやっぱワールドシリーズのワールドチャンピオンとプレーしているわけなので、それは当然そう予測するべきだと思いますし、ドジャースには世界で一番有名な選手も所属しているので、それはもちろん当然そういうことだとは思います。やはりワールドシリーズを優勝したらそれなりの名誉っていうかそういうものはついてくるものだと思いますし、それは別に私は気にしてないですし、チームも気にしてないと思います。
Other questions for Craig? Anything else for Craig before we let him go? All right, we'll go to Maddie in the third row on your right.
Shota said something about advice that Steele gave him, which was essentially, no one's going to remember this in 100 years. Just what does that say about how Steele approaches the game, and then also how your pitchers are getting along?
Yeah, that's funny because that was a conversation actually Shota Steele and I had like maybe the first day of spring training. And we were actually talking about the first bullpen you throw of the season. When there's a lot of like eyes on you for the first time. It's the first time, everybody's watching you. And Justin said that he probably tried too hard in his first bullpen of the season, just on a backfield in Mesa, Arizona, right? And then we kind of bridged that to like, what's it going to be like for Shota yesterday? And that's what then Steely said. Whenever I get overexcited, I try to tell myself that nobody will remember this in 100 years. Like nobody is going to care what happened, and it's a trick you play with we play athletes, I think, and all of us play with our heads when we are in stressful situations to relax us, right? And when you're competing in these environments, that's what we do. We use tricks like that to create relaxation for us and allow us to perform. So it's a great perspective, and I think it's one that any performers have used, as long as there's performers.
スティール選手が今永選手にアドバイスしたことに関してなんですけれども、それは監督と今永選手とスティールを通して本当キャンプの最序盤に話したことだと覚えています。でそれまずブルペン、やっぱ最初のブルペンって結構注目度が高いので、それに対してスティール選手がちょっと力が入り緊張感というかそういうのがあったっていうことで、それがじゃあ本当日本の開幕戦だったらどうなるんだろうって今永選手とその話してる時にその話になったみたいです。でその時にスティール選手が自分はちょっとあまりに興奮状態になった時は100年1000年後は誰も覚えてないんだよってことを自分に言い聞かせようっていうことを話してそれを話になりました。やっぱアスリートとしてみんなそのようなメンタルトリックっていうか何かを持っていると思うんですけれども、それはすごいいい視点だとは思います。
All right, Craig, Shingo, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
stay right here on Dave's
Hi,
right.
Stephen Wade with Associated Press. I ask the same question to the Cubs manager. There was a time when the Cubs and the Dodgers were one of those 6 or 7 big historic clubs, Cardinals, Red Sox, Giants, whatever. Suddenly now the Dodgers are so much above everybody else. What's that feel like? You know, there's like the Cubs are like the second-ran team here, and I don't mean this in any disrespect, but you guys are now so far above, seem to be so far above everybody else. How do you take that in, or how do you manage that?
カブスの監督にも同じ質問を聞きましたが、かつてはドジャースもカブスも両球団ともメジャーの中でも優れた名門球団という立場にいましたけど、今ではやっぱりドジャースが自分だけで名門の球団になっているということについて感想を教えてください。
I think in totality, there's still a few ball clubs that share that same lore of history, but baseball, a lot of it is cyclical, and so our hope is we can continue to ride this high tide as the Dodgers. But in Japan, I just think it's just more skewed because of Shohei, and nothing against the other 3 Japanese players, but Shohei is just such a beast in this whole equation that there's a lot of 17 jerseys, Dodger jerseys here.
歴史的なあるの、すごい歴史の、ある球団は他にも何球団たくさんありますけど、やっぱり、波の、どの球団が強いかというのは波のあるものなので、これからも引き継ぎで、強い球団であることを目的にしています。特に他の選手に、失礼なことを言うつもりはないんですけど、やっぱり大谷選手の、存在がすごいやっぱり大きくて、特にスタンドの一番17の、ユニフォームがすごい、見えていることで、が分かる。
Go to David standing in the doorway.
どれぐらい、怪我が深刻なのかは、いつになったら分かると思います。
He lobbied hard, like he always does. He wants to play every day, kind of prepared to play, but ultimately conceded to myself and the training staff. It's just too early in the season to potentially put him in harm's way. Feels much better than he did yesterday. My expectation is that he'll be good to go for the Freeway Series.
本人からはやっぱり強い、出たいという、強い希望はありましたが、私と、トレーニングスタッフの、皆さんが、今日は出ない方がいいということで、本人は納得してくれました。昨年アメリカに戻ってからのフリーウェイシリーズには、出場できる。
Go to Bill in the second row on your left. Then we'll go to Kirsten after that.
Yeah, as exciting as these games have been, this whole trip, the travel, is part of you or part of the players feeling like it'd be nice to get it over with tonight, get home, take a breath, and get back into more of a routine?
これほど、大きな舞台での試合ですが、中には選手にとっては、いつものレースに戻りたいという気持ちも、ありますか？
I think you said it perfectly. This has been a great trip, but I do think I speak for the players. We're ready to win a ball game tonight and get back home and get back to our regular lives and routine, but it's been a tremendous experience.
これ本当に素晴らしい機会でしたけど、やっぱり選手は、いつものルーティン、いつもの生活に戻りたいという気持ちは、あると思います。
Go to Kirsten, first row on your left.
Just
Dave.
going back to Roki, with that splitter of his and talking to some of the guys, it's hard for them to compare it to anything that they've seen before. Even Connor McGinnis said it's kind of like a fork ball. How would you just describe that pitch and what allows it to be so effective for him?
佐々木選手のことについて、他の選手だったりコーチだったりから、他の、見てきた中での、球種に比べにくいっていう、本当にユニークな、球種だっていう話がありますが、それについて少し話してください。
Well, the unique thing about his split finger, it's very unpredictable. It can go to the left, it can go straight down, and it can go to the right. And I don't think, and Roki doesn't even know what it's going to do when he throws a baseball. So if the pitcher doesn't know, it's certainly hard for the hitter to hit the split. And the main thing is the split has got to be presented as a strike. If it looks like a strike out of the hand, it's going to be a very effective pitch.
佐々 しづらい、軌道だということで、左に落ちること、まっすぐ落ちるものと、右に落ちるものとたくさんあって、やっぱり、本人自体も、どっち方向に落ちるかっていうのはなかなか、予測しづらい、みたいなので、やっぱりピッチャー本人が、どっちに落ちるか分からない中ではやっぱり、すごい打ちづらいんじゃないかなというふうに思います。でまず、一番大事なのは、ストレート、ストライクに見える、バッターに見せることが、やっぱり大事だと。
Do one or two last ones. Go to Jack. First row on your right, Dave.
When you have someone like Roki, who we've talked about, like is still relatively raw, but has kind of like the premium stuff that he does, like, do you almost kind of have like a wider range of expectations for how he might look, not just like tonight, but like over the course of the year? Like, do you have kind of a sense of how it might look, you know, the highs and the lows, or are you kind of like waiting to see yourself, you know, how this is going to play out at a regular season environment?
Well, ごめんなさい。
佐々木選手のように、発展途上のピッチャーで、キリにすごいやるピッチャーだと、やっぱり波が、激しいように思いますが、1試合でも1年を通して、どういうふうな成績を残してくれると思います。
I think when you get youth and talent, which is Roki, what that introduces is variance. And so there's going to be some really high highs and then some things that you just don't know what are going to happen because of his inexperience. And so for me, I'm just going to wait and see because I'm still trying to learn Roki as a professional pitcher.
佐々木選手の特徴であるその若さと才能の高さを、やっぱり、一緒にすると、すごい、波が大きいっていうのは、予測できます。本当に素晴らしい投球をする日もあれば、それを予測しづらい日も、あると思います。私としてはまだ、佐々木選手のピッチャーとしての特徴を、理解している段階なので、これから見ていきたいと思います。
We'll take a last question from Fabian to your right here.
Yeah, Dave. Obviously, it's not the same situation as Yamamoto last year, but it was, in terms of like this kind of a start, we put obviously so much into a big league debut, doing it in his own home country. Like, how do you sort of gauge, obviously, like learning as much as you can from how he handles this moment versus not trying to read too much into maybe what the results kind of look like in his first start?
山本選手と全く同じ状況ではないですけど、やっぱり海外でも、開幕戦で、すごい大きな舞台になって、どれぐらい、今日の結果と、今日から、その大きな舞台があるということで、それほど注目したいものを、どういうふうに話すか。
I personally didn't read much into Yoshinobu's first start in Seoul last year. I don't plan on reading much into this start for Roki. There's a ton of emotions that I can't even appreciate. I don't think any one of us can. And so he's going to go out there and do the best he can. He's going to compete. And the key is he just continues to get better. And so that's kind of the hope. And that's what Yoshinobu did last year. And that's the expectation for Roki.
山本選手の去年のデビュー戦も、それほど重視しなかったですし、今年の佐々木選手のデビュー戦も、それほど重視していません。私も、他の人にもすごい分からない複雑な気持ちがあると思うので、まず一番はやっぱりその佐々木選手が非常に、成長していくっていうのが一番大事だと思います。
All right, Dave, Yuji, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Enjoy tonight. Tommy Edman of the Dodgers should be down in a couple minutes.